But yeah, it's the end of the year. Stuff has happened and has continued happening. And we wanted to take the time and give you a brief glimpse into what was going on the last year. What can you expect coming up? Great. I don't think I have any housekeeping to do today. Maybe, yeah, give me some feedback, please, if you would be so kind, as to what you think in regards to how I share these like live streams. I already heard in the Discord that some would like us to have something like a calendar, a public calendar where you can just subscribe and look at it. Not sure though. I'm not 100%. I don't say that we will not do this, but I'm not sure how to implement this. Other than that, I just cross-post now. Like, I have YouTube, and if you're a subscriber on YouTube, you will see the messages. Usually, throughout the last couple of weeks, I did them on the same day as the live stream itself, which of course is a little bit weak of a reminder, but maybe you see it in your timeline. And of course, we understand 3 o'clock afternoon in Austria fits us, and it might not fit you. And if you don't have the time, please just watch it later. Write the questions in the comments below, and we will start answering them in the next episode. But the next episode will be in 4 weeks, probably. As I wrote in the announcement, I might do a quick thingamajig in between on my own. So maybe something will happen on this channel in 2 weeks, but don't count on Daniel being there as well.
I'm probably not here.
Yeah, I won't be here as well, but you saw my cool green screen setup in the last couple of episodes. I'll be probably in that setup again. So even though I'm not sure what's going to happen and how it's going to happen, you can expect us to keep the cadence up with the 2 weeks. But in 2 weeks from now, there might be a little in between situation. Great. Okay. I was going into the whole cross-posting thingamajig regarding Discord and YouTube. So what I now started, and just for everybody to know this and to get into this, I created a thread in Discord. So there we are watching the thread now as well, because last time some questions were coming in. Hello Dash for showing up again. No, you did not miss anything important. I was in an intro phase. But Dash, for you to know as well, I think I put the link for the Discord only in the announcement. If I remember, I will put it into the description of this video as well. There is a thread on the Discord, which we have open as well. So if questions come in, not through the YouTube live chat, maybe it is through Discord. And we're going to have both of them open at the same time. And we'll try to do it like this. That's just for the beginning. Other than that, I think from a housekeeping perspective, that was mostly it. Yeah, you see again, because it's different setup, it's only the Twitter handles at the moment. You can find the Mastodon handles in the bottom below. I am sort of active on Mastodon now. Rambly. Yeah, exactly. I'm not too active there yet.
I'm still switching between them. I see my Twitter timeline getting worse and worse, but still there's good stuff there that hasn't yet switched to Mastodon. So still missing quite a couple accounts to follow.
Yeah, me too.
Over there. So yeah, we'll see.
Me too.
How this kind of exodus works out.
Yeah, who knows? But we're still in the socials, and I think YouTube is stepping up their social game as well. So YouTube has now those announcement stuff thingies, which I did today as well. I think they are stepping up their game in that regard. It was so easy to create the post with the link to the Discord and with this video attached to it, even though it was not up yet, which I'm well, this is great. I can see me using this more often. And it's now in the YouTube app as well, so I can do updates there more frequently. And maybe Dash, if you want to respond, I was asking earlier, encouraging people if they want to sort of like let us know how they like to hear about stuff. In the Discord, there were some voices regarding a calendar. I'm not 100% sure if we should do a calendar, just because, yeah, would this be a CalDAV? An ICS thing people can subscribe?
I'm not sure what they actually expect. So if they kind of just want a web view with the dates on it, or if they actually want to subscribe to it.
Yeah. So maybe give us an answer if you,
Yeah.
if anybody who's watching it, maybe also later on, let us know what sort of like reminders you would want. We try to do the live stream every 2 weeks. So if you really want to be here, we try to keep this up and keep it up. Yeah, great, Daniel. I wanted to talk today about sort of like it's an end of the year episode, a little bit about what happened throughout the last year, and maybe share some highlights.
Sure.
I know I'm sort of like pushing you into this, but do you want to share?
I did ask you if there are questions I need preparation for, but you said no. So
no, there aren't. No. It's an end of the year episode. There are no maybe some live questions, but other than that, I'm just like I'd like to talk about the last year. Okay, let me help you.
There's one obvious one.
Yeah, share it.
So the obvious one is, of course, the version 1 release. That's
true.
Kind of a huge milestone to get everything there and ready to go V1 and say, we're here, we're ready.
Yeah. How did like programming change for you after this?
Well, I think there's the focus is more towards stability and instead of just speed. So I do feel we focus more on like taking more time to implement things and making sure they're more stable. There was this one thing we had lately, but
you feel confident? Everything is fine.
But other than that, I think that it's going well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And
but it is. Yeah, we do take more time to look into things and instead of just kind of going forward and like
rushing one feature after the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. We shifted now to this like hero feature approach as well.
Yeah, I like that.
You like that?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, maybe I don't know if we talked about this on the live stream yet. Maybe about hero features in general.
I think we did once, maybe.
Okay.
But go on.
So, and chime in if you want to add something there. But like with hero features, for those on the Discord who are like Portmaster Unlimited subscribers or supporter subscribers, they already have access to it. The process, how we moved about this was that we internally discussed what sort of like big features everybody would want to work on for the Portmaster. And Daniel and I actually went through that, narrowed it down, and we're like, okay, good. This is a subset that we think is worth like actually working on now, because there are always many cool ideas, and people who are talking with us, writing us emails, typically get the answer of, well, we could do this technically, or it is technically already possible, but it's not implemented yet in a way where the UI supports this. And so like, and this is due to the team always being very like open and having many great ideas about what the Portmaster could do.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for the future of the Portmaster. But so we had this brainstorming thing, and I think it was 30 ideas.
Yeah, I think we then realized that there were a couple more we forgot. So I think we're probably up to 40.
40 hero features. We're not talking about small improvements. I mean, not that the toggles for allowing and disallowing apps, or I heard that maybe make it easier to see which apps have custom changes to it. Those are all great ideas and quality of life improvements, but this would not be a hero feature. So hero features are actually like new things. And we can share the two, which we're now working on later. But so we had 40 hero feature ideas, stuff we consider big enough to do a like 1.1 release for, and stuff that we hope you were excited about as well. So how did it continue then? 40, and then the two of us talked about it.
Yeah, we looked into it, and of course there were the obvious ones that were long term, like big features that kind of really extend the scope.
Want to share?
Maybe
to be clear, this now would be a feature that did not make the cut for the next small improvements. You seem like you think about something, and I'd like to share it for the people.
But I could check.
Okay, then let me just continue with the process. So what we then did was let the team vote. So we did a subsection, which we think we could do like within the next couple of months, and let the team vote on which ones they actually like best of those ideas. So it was 40 from the brainstorming. Then I think it was 10 for the team. And then we wanted to have 3 to 5 for the Discord, like for, as I said earlier, for those who are like Portmaster Unlimited or supporter subscribers. We put them there and let them vote as well. Which those two features, and it was only 2 that I released because I wanted to do more, but yeah, stuff came in between. But 2 we already pitched, and I'm sharing them now. They voted to get a new small dashboard, like a stat menu where you currently see the upgrade button if you are not a subscriber. We will replace this. This will have 3 numbers.
3 numbers.
3 numbers displaying to you. Total blocked connections. Upgraded DNS requests and SPN tunnels, which of course, if you're not a subscriber, will stay 0 and we'll have a little upgrade next to it. So to remind everybody, they can support our work, but see the value for them as well.
Number, but it's not kind of the start of new ones. It's kind of just like you have now the
how many tunnels?
How many identities you're currently using in ESPN. So that'll stay, but we'll kind of rearrange things and see how to find a good way to put that there.
And the idea is to, of course, show the long-term value, that you understand, like sort of like with Brave, where you see like how many trackers have been blocked and how much time has been saved and stuff, which of course is like, well, we could do the time thing as well, but this would be very like, this is only a calculated number, and so it would not be sure and stuff. So this is sort of like what we went about. And the other feature, and Dash, I'm gonna get to your comment right, or can you read it? Yeah, and I will answer the second thing. Just read it for you, and then I'll answer. The second topic is we're going to update the SPN map. The map has needed an update for quite some time now, but we were not sure which direction to go, and we opt for an easier to see option and to sort of get an understanding of what's going on, and maybe a tidbit less information. Currently, each node has its own dot on the map, which of course is an assumption anyway. And what we saw now with community nodes, sometimes the community nodes overlap with SPN, like with safing nodes. And instead of trying to figure out how to automate this cannot happen, and of course with small countries, or if you zoomed out very much, this is always an issue.
And with increasing scale, it'll always happen.
Exactly. And so we were like, okay, we make it easier. We display you the country and display you how many servers are in this country. And you will see on the colored country dots for where the nodes are. And we will still have the lines when you investigate where like this identity is located. And it will connect to the dots at the beginning, at least properly. Maybe we will update this through the future as well to make it a little bit easier. Not sure yet, but the idea is to have a quick glance and understand I connect through all of those countries and not having to figure out which one of those nodes is it now. And when we click on the country, then you get a display of all the nodes which are in this country and which ones you're using. So we will continue into that direction. You want to read what Dash or say what Dash?
Sure. So I'm not entirely sure that's what you meant, but I think what you mean is to split traffic from an application or from the whole device onto multiple internet connections that you have. That's something that we are planning to do. That's actually something that Rafael really likes and what kind of toots here and there.
Toots? No, I think his question is a little bit different.
Really? Okay, but to finish my point, that's something that the ESPN is able to do because of how it is built, and we'll be able to do this sooner or later. We don't know yet. There's no priority on this as of now, but that is coming eventually. Yeah.
What I think what Dash was asking is like if he can if for his browser the connections are split into different routes, and they are already. You cannot set sort of like a percentage yourself, but the Portmaster sees each connection and so even for one website you can have multiple routes because one website might have different domains. And it might split according to them. And this actually caused an issue for some websites because then they think you're at the same time in two countries, which of course is not possible. And so some websites sort of like don't like this. And I think we're at least thinking about how to improve upon this and give you the option to sort of like combine this traffic into one tunnel. And into one route, so that this is of course increasing
there's an automated system now that kind of sticks a domain to exit for an application for some time in order to like reduce problems here because websites will kind of see this as a threat and log you out automatically if you like suddenly come from another IP address. Depending on what website and the system they're using, but that's something we've already done.
But this is for the same domain. So this would be, for instance, when you hit like google.com once and you're logged in, and then maybe you were logged in, or YouTube. Let's say YouTube. We're on YouTube now. Let's say YouTube. It's a Google service, of course, as well. And then once you hit it through Germany, and then like the moment you refresh, you would hit it maybe through France and stuff like this. They're like, you can't move so fast. We flag you. And this can cause issues. And so what you're saying, an automated system that we're currently having is if you connect it to YouTube, once the route will stay the same for a period of time. But what I'm saying is like, because when you connect to YouTube, there are multiple connections going there. And some of them are now routed through France and through Germany.
What you mean,
And a feature what we're thinking of, which would reduce this spreading, would be to allow you to bundle those connections into one route. So I think, Dash, the very long answer to your question, where we touched upon many things, which I like, is yes, packages are routed differently right now. So this is already the case. And I think I'm tying it back now to I hope this package is answered. And what you touched upon, maybe just to iterate, and you said, I like this feature and I do like it a lot, is the possibility to use multiple connections. So if you have a phone, which you probably do, with an internet connection, which it probably has, and you have broadband at home, maybe through cable or DSL or something, you probably have that too. You could combine the two of them. And this would have multiple effects. First off, the traffic that you're generating now is split between two ISPs. None of them sees what you're doing, because the traffic is split from the point of origin. Like with traffic analysis, already with the SPN, we do some fancy stuff with package splitting and so on, and padding, and the traffic analysis is already very hard with the SPN on its own. But this feature would bring in a whole new, like, I just love this. And the second thing, of course, is you would get a combined speed. Like your LTE speed would work together with your DSL speed. Here in Austria, there are some modems, maybe you have that in your country as well, where they have an LTE modem next to a DSL modem, and they don't allow for this. They switch between LTE and DSL depending on the type of traffic which you're having and how much bandwidth you're actually requiring. So this is actually like they sort of sell it as what we're doing, but they don't. Like they don't do this.
Yeah, they just switch between, and sometimes it actually drops connections.
Yeah.
So that can kind of actually kill your traffic. So
yeah. When you're doing a download and large download, it sees, well, this requires the other type of connection, so it breaks the download and reconnects, and then you have to redo the download again. So, yeah.
Yeah. So
Dash, no issue. Thanks for clarifying it. 20. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, as you said, it's not yet possible to split it by percentages into two countries. Currently, it's doing this automated. We are working, of course, on a feature where you can set per domain countries easier, so that you can say, well, YouTube, no matter where, always exits in, for instance, Germany or like the US or whatever. For now, you can do this only for applications. But of course, technically, as we like to say, it is possible on a domain level, but we need to do this. Yeah. Starlink ISP at my location. Yeah. I understand. And with Starlink, of course, I thought about this as well. And in Austria, we actually have so Dash said he switched to Starlink. I thought about maybe having a Starlink dish in my backyard as well and combine this through this feature we just talked about and have like my regular landline and then Starlink. And we actually have a very cool project. I think it's by the Chaos Computer Club, or at least it's like associated with them.
that's true.
Which is called Funkfeuer. They have a Wi-Fi
mesh network.
And it's like different people all coming together. Everybody gets like an antenna on their roof and they're like pointing at each other. And of course, this is a very like, grassroots sort of like internet movement. And not that Vienna does not have good internet, but it's like very like, it's sort of like, it belongs to me. I'm in control of my internet, or like more in control through a method like this. And this is what I like. And this is the reason why I'm interested in Funkfeuer.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, just have fun with that also. And of course, I think they have a quite good uplink for that network. So
yeah,
the speeds are really good. Of course, latency going over multiple Wi-Fi connections isn't that amazing, but it works quite well.
Yeah, and it's a cool backup method, of course, as well. Yeah, like where you have another sort of like connection to the internet. And so, initiatives like this are sort of like the reason why I like the split tunneling a lot. Where I'm like, not split tunneling, where I like this combining, what is it actually called?
I don't know if there's like a definition.
We have one in our white paper.
We have a word for it?
Yeah, we use the white, in the white paper, there's a word for it. And I think I talked about this on the podcast, Firewalls Don't Stop Dragons with Carrie. Because as you know, it's one of my most favorite features, which we have not shipped yet. But yeah, great. Okay, so long detour, but great question, Dash. Thank you for bringing this in.
Where were we actually?
Yeah, we were like highlights of the last year and stuff that has been happening. And
we talked about this. What was it? These hero features. Well, we covered that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're done with the hero features. What another highlight?
Another highlight.
Hit me.
Let me think.
Okay. Another highlight that I would share is I like that we have our first community notes now. Like community notes, we have been thinking about this and we wanted to have them for quite some time, and we're like, okay, how to like compensate them as well. This was always the question, and just to make this clear, we are currently not compensating any of the community notes. We had people reach out to us and ask them, and we sort of offered them sort of like a deal situation, and I don't think that the deal was bad, not by any means. One of them, and I think I talked about this as well, like Proxy Store, for instance. I like to shout them out because they have a great service as well. You can check them out. Proxy store.re, I think is their domain. They offer great privacy options to sort of like order Amazon stuff through them to their location. You pay them with cash for the stuff, so you don't have to have an Amazon account. You don't have to link the purchase to you and stuff like that. And they accept Monero as well, and they're an official reseller of like Portmaster Limited subscriptions. And so you buy gift cards from them, and then you activate them with us, which of course creates an extra step of separation between your internet, like your SPN usage, and your purchase. And they wanted to do a community note. They have some issues on their end, but they, of course, we would talk with them, and we can sort of like figure out a compensation model with them. If you're interested in running a community node and you're thinking of, I know how to run a server and stuff, we don't like any pies in our network. Like Tor is slow because the servers are slow. The SPN is fast because the servers are fast. But if for you the issue is money, let's talk. Let us know. The reason why we want to do this is, of course, distributed ownership is great. It helps. Important, yeah. It is important. Yeah. If we don't run the server, somebody else runs it. We don't have any access to it. We don't see the trap. Like the onion routing works great then, because like it separates the ownerships of the servers, and this is very cool. Yeah, Dash. I give a link into the comments below, or about the proxy store thing, or maybe in the description. You'll find it.
Yeah, it was really fun to see like community nodes pop up on the map and see, oh, there's one here, oh, there's a new one here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just at the beginning with all that. So yeah. We also kind of need to kind of find a good place for that community to kind of exchange about running a community node, what issues are there, kind of also be able to like talk with other community node operators, and also for us to contact them and be like, hey, there's this thing going on, like how do you want to handle this? Kind of not kind of us as a company going like, okay, this is how it goes, but kind of together managing this network. Yeah.
Very, very, very cool. Yeah. Also cool that the like thesis start working and everything. I think this, like how the SPN as a network grew over the last year, was also great to see. Starting off with a couple of nodes, like we started, like the alpha testing started over a year ago now. Like it was November 2021. And we started off then, and we had a couple of nodes, and then it grew, and then we added more servers, and then more people came, and we added more servers, and we're still a little bit behind, so we want to add more servers. There are obvious places where we need more, but also, like, if you are an SPN user, let us know about your experience. Please, please, please do. Because we see what speeds the servers have between each other. They're reporting this. Your Portmaster knows those speeds, and it makes decisions accordingly. But we don't know how it feels for you. Like, we are in the middle of Europe. For us, like surfing, doing video calls works fine great over the SPN. Like, you know, there are no hiccups there. But we had some reports that in some parts of the world, and of course, like the whole Asian Pacific, area is a little bit worse. We know, but still, let us know. Even if you like, just because like we want to understand where to improve the network and stuff. Yeah, Dash, about the cool links and a section about this. I'm thinking of maybe doing stuff like that through like for my personal blog.
Ah, nice.
Haven't mentioned that yet, that I run like my personal blog. Not sure if I should share this too much, but I'm actually the owner of Rafty.com. Rafty spelled like here, but without the 101. At Rafty is like parked by somebody who has not used this handle. Like it was, I think, half a year on Twitter before me. And I'm like, but I would be verified. Like I own Rafty.com. And a couple of weeks ago, we started utilizing this as a homepage. And Daniel actually told me now I'm a serious internet person. And I'm like, serious internet person.
Yeah, I do feel like kind of like a lot of people have their personal blog, and like especially I'm on Hacker News here and there, and there's like a lot of personal blogs there that are like really good. So
yeah,
and that's kind of I like that because it's not big tech. It's not kind of just everyone on that blogging platform, but it's kind of like the OG internet.
It is.
Kind
it's
of
built.
everyone with their own website, and that's kind of proper decentralization. Not kind of what we're trying to do with like central software, but kind of decentralized, but then again not. Yeah, super weird. But yeah, like
OG internet.
OG internet.
Yeah. So Dash, if you want some like recommendations and stuff, I like Alternative too. This is where I go to research for new stuff. But I will share, for instance, and the people on Discord requested this from me, sort of like my progression, how I built my home like IoT setup in a way which I think is privacy respecting. So maybe the TLDR here would be no Wi-Fi enabled stuff. I chose Zigbee, and everything runs through Home Assistant, which is on a properly secured server and stuff. But locally, of course, everything locally. And sort of like I will probably share my story there, and maybe have some. And I thought already about some device recommendations and so on, because of course, like with Safing, we have very interesting devices. We try new things as well. Like we have 2 Tuxedo books, we have a Starlab book and stuff like that. And I'm currently running an HP Dev 1. And I thought like for a business environment where we already had USB-C displays and stuff, we had some very interesting experiences with all those companies, which I think like typical YouTubers just don't cover, because they review a device, but they don't have all this legacy hardware, which we do, which we upgrade into, and sort of like upgrade one thing and then the other. We already have a webcam. We already have microphones. How does this fit together? And we have so many stuff in the office. So
yeah, that was really interesting experience to kind of have these different like Linux hardware vendors that kind of fail in different ways. So, yeah.
You're talking about
it's
your
still,
laptop that you're currently using?
Well, that one is quite okay. The other one was weirder.
You think? No, but that laptop had some issues with screen tearing.
That was weird too, yeah. So
I don't think where you're coming from.
There's a lot of weird stuff here and there. Yeah.
Regarding Dash, to your question, I know we're off very far here, but it's an end of the year episode, so I feel like this is a cool conversation. Tuxedo is better than Pinebooks as far as our experience goes. It's also, they're more powerful, and I think we already saw like the first Tuxedo that you had, I think was a Ryzen 2000 machine, or maybe even 1000. So a couple of years ago now, and the current one is, I think, a Ryzen 5000 or 6000 maybe even, we saw so much improvement. So Tuxedo already got better. I think their documentation is a little bit lacking. We wanted to run some Arch Linux on there, and some of the drivers were not properly loaded in the grub. And so the screen tore, because it's in 1440p panel or something like that. It's not full HD.
Yeah.
It sort of was split, and it was weird. And then we reached out to them, and they said, well, you need to do those changes. And we're like, where can we find this on the homepage? And they're like, you can't. And we're like, oh, compatible with all Linux distros when you write us, and this is okay. If you like Tuxedo, please keep on.
But Tuxedo, I think they have their own custom stuff too, and even their custom kernel, for their kind of flavored Ubuntu, I think, and that's kind of what might be okay. But I really like the other vendors are like, okay, we natively support these 5 distros. And I think that's a much cleaner and nicer support than them rolling their own distro.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. But if they then don't support the distro that you like, that's you're in a bad spot. This sort of was the reason why I did not like Starbuck that much. That interesting hardware had some issues. Still, our Starbuck laptop has issues, but they did not support Fedora. They're the reason why I went with Manjaro for the longest time. And I'm currently on a Dev 1, HP Dev 1, with Fedora, running beautifully, just out of the box. Yeah. NitroKey. Oh, I don't know NitroKey.
Yeah, I really about NitroKey.
Okay.
They seem like a cool company.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's more or less an open source YubiKey, right? I guess. I think there's multiple around there. There's this other one.
Okay.
That's open source. There are a couple now.
Key companies like YubiKey.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I thought about I 2 weeks ago did the switch to do everything with YubiKeys. I guess I owned 2 for a long time, but now I have a third one. And now I'm feeling confident enough to actually turn off any other sort of 2-factor. With 3 keys in there, I'm okay, now I can turn off TOTP and stuff to properly have only a YubiKey in those accounts. But no NitroKey. I did not know about them. Maybe I'll have a look if you already know this stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Interesting. Yeah, no, maybe an update there. We like keys and stuff like that and multi-factor authentication, even for stuff which is not that important. I don't know if you would consider your SPN account that important, your Safing account. But we are hearing you. We are working on multi-factor authentication for the Safing account. The main issue currently, I think, is that we are not 100% sure how we are going to do the authentication within Portmaster to the account. Doing it in the browser would already be only a couple of steps away. But this whole connection between Portmaster and the account within Portmaster and the account just on the homepage.
Yeah, and the whole process, there are 4 components, and kind of the account server where you log into is just one of them. And whatever authentication we use must be supported by all 4 components and implemented at all of these 4 steps. So we're currently evaluating how to go forward with this. And the main idea is to use a different authentication mechanism for all of these components, and then kind of do regular login just on the account page. So kind of if you've, I know there's Tailscale, I think, does that, and the GitHub CLI, if you've used any of these. you kind of get it generates a link for you that you clicked, and then you go into your browser and authenticate your device inside the browser, and that kind of then funnels back to the software, which is of course a complex process, but then we're gonna have to do this once, and we don't have to do all the authentication options everywhere, especially when we get to all the YubiKeys and stuff like that. That's gonna be no fun at all to implement in a custom UI. So because the browser just does it and has first-class support for that, and everything else doesn't. So we need quite a lot more work to get that right, and we don't have resources for that at the moment. So this is kind of paused, and will continue at a later point in time. Also, we don't want to just do like kind of a half-assed approach where we kind of enable 2FA for the website, but don't for the portmaster.
Exactly. Exactly.
That kind of is just confusing and kind of yeah.
This sometimes is in our way that we don't like half-assery. I can tell you all it's very interesting sometimes how decisions are made, because just like we cannot do this properly, then let's not start with it, you know. Like two-factor sadly is already a couple steps ahead. This is the reason why I said, like, why I brought it up. It's already like on the website very far. But then we figured, okay, this we're not going to release it because it would be in half-assery, and we sort of did not fully thought this through from the get-go in that regard. But yeah.
Yeah. But also, I don't know like how your threat mode looks like, but case in point being, if you don't have your email address in your account and you don't kind of have other personal information there, then there's nothing there that is a threat, because you cannot access the devices or you cannot see anything about the devices when you actually would get access to it. And if you add devices, you can't kind of connect to other devices. So there's kind of no threat, no immediate threat to
gaining access to an SPN account. That's
exactly.
True. That's
so
true.
That's also why we're not kind of committing immediate resources there, because from a threat model perspective, there's so much better and more important things to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think great point. Great point. I want to maybe add something to Dash's comment there regarding Aegis. Just for those people who are on iOS, I actually support somebody on GitHub through GitHub Supported, which I would recommend if you like an open source app. Support them. Revio, they're also recommended by Privacy Guides or Privacy Tools, one of them. Not sure, but it's an open source like Google authentication alternative, just so that you have a free tidbit there. In general, and I think on the podcast where I'm sort of a co-host, the Sensuous Sounds of InfoSec, we did a multi-factor authentication episode a couple of months ago, I think at this point, just for everybody to know, like, two time-based one-time passwords, so TOTP, is not great two-factor authentication. Reason being that you typically want something that you know and something that you have. And because those TOTP things are like based on a key, which you can export and then use with any other device, everybody who knows this key and who knows your password has access to your, like, all of your accounts, or like to this account, to this account. The key is different for each application, but so the argument is those time-based things, even though they're typically on a phone, and so typically you think it's something that you have because it's like abstracted from something that the phone knows It's not the best way of multi-factor, and this is part of the reason, which I have not heard like on Naomi TV or something like that, where they're talking about YubiKeys now quite a lot. This is something that you have, and this is the reason why it's a better like multi-factor thing. And it's not two different things, you know. It's still an improvement. I still recommend it.
It's an amazing improvement.
It is
definitely.
It's so much better than just
use
passwords.
2FA wherever you can, because like it really depends on like what your viewpoint is and what your threat model is, of course. But the thing with like TUTP 2FA is still that in most cases I think it does qualify as something that you have. Especially because you also can have it on a YubiKey or these old other things that, like I think World of Warcraft was one of the first kind of consumer grade solutions that use that. And that was a hardware token. But the thing is that a password you always transfer to the server, and whatever happens in between or on the server can compromise the password. But if you just send a TUTP like this six digit password, then if that is compromised, it doesn't matter because it's just derived from the actual key.
That's true.
There is an amazing improvement from 2FA. So, but
please use it.
Of course, a YubiKey is better. But 2FA is still an amazing improvement.
Yeah.
Do use wherever you can.
Yeah, and I so much agree. So please keep on using it. I just wanted to add this to the whole, like, because it's like hip now and maybe a great Christmas gift as well. I am thinking about
gotta be quick.
giving some people some YubiKeys. And they don't have to be the black ones. They have the most features, but for typical online use, YubiKey, like the blue ones, are the ones that you actually need, like for basic use. If you don't know that you need a black one, you are probably good with a blue one. And especially to get going, and it's like 30 euros per key, and you should gift 2 per person so that they can actually have a backup. Because as I said, like, I only felt comfortable with 3. But gifting 3, of course, is almost 100 euros, and I'm like, not sure there. But
that's a lot. Yeah. That was actually interesting. We had to buy a YubiKey, the FIPS version, the FIPS certified version.
Yeah, so much more a key that you so not need if you don't know what for.
Yeah, that's what kind of, we tried to buy it at that German seller, and they didn't sell it online. And they were like, you have to contact support. And they were like, yeah, because a lot of people buy it just because they think more expensive is better. But no, you really don't need it.
Yeah, and it has less functionality than the typical ones.
Yeah.
So it's more expensive, but it's not more better. So you actually need to.
Yeah, we need one of these for the
code signing.
The code sign certificate to sign the kernel extension for Windows. So we actually needed exactly that one. So I had to go to support. But that was fun to learn that. People will just fork out 60 euros just to get the more expensive one without even knowing what it does. But yeah.
No, and I think this is, and some people have actually told us this, like if you would charge for the Portmaster, people would feel more secure. And we're like, yeah, I understand. I understand this argument, because if you don't pay for it, there is no value there. And we hope everybody watching understands the value of the Portmaster. But
we could just add another tier.
Okay, but
I think it's a good idea.
The reason why we don't charge for the Portmaster, of course, is because privacy is a requirement. We think that everybody should be able to get access to as much privacy as possible. And of course, there are things that create costs. And we understand, for instance, that SPN is like Portmaster Unlimited is expensive. We do. And of course, everybody who's like supporting us there is also supporting people who are just using the free tier. You are creating, you're paying for stuff that you actually use. Like the servers aren't free for us. And so the access isn't free for everyone. But Portmaster needs to be free because privacy. needs a baseline of privacy, of course, always needs to be free. And we hope that at one point we will be in a post-money world where everybody has more privacy. But
We'll see.
maybe that's a little bit controversial here. No, yeah, and maybe people have saw this in the background. Great end of the year episode as well. If you move your head a bit, that's actually like an shuttle, and Star Trek shuttle. So I'm a Star Trek fan, and of course Star Trek it's a post-money future. You know, not that I'm against capitalism or anything. It's just like, yeah, I love like this idea of a bright future, exploration. You know.
Definitely not sure if post-money is a thing that is actually doable.
I don't know either, but it's just like the whole idea of like this bright future, and maybe just as a little personal tidbit, I don't like all the dark versions which are coming out now, where I'm like, oh, this is not the Star Trek I grew up with. This is not the way, the direction I think we as a society should be heading, and so this is the reason why we're fighting for more privacy, for the good fight, to have like a bright future for everybody, which is not predetermined by, governments, companies, bots who know where your place in this world actually is.
Because you mentioned before, kind of like supporting open source software and GitHub.
Yeah.
I think I want to hook into that. I think that's really important, and we know how hard it is to do open source stuff. And that's something definitely where it's really easy to support going in a good direction as a society to support the open source software that you use. Not just kind of enjoying it free, but really kind of acting on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And of course, Open Collective is good as well if you don't like GitHub because it's owned by Microsoft. But I like that they make it easy to sort of like pay creators. And Dash, you're right. It's a pain that privacy is sometimes just like, also not just a unicorn, but it's also sometimes just hard, you know. A couple of years ago, I sort of like reflected on how many steps it took me to log into a website, because I sort of like hardened my Firefox quite a lot, or at least I thought I did. And then at one point I'm just like, do I only make my life harder because I feel more private then, or does this actually contribute to a better privacy and better experience in that regard? And so I do like the threat model idea there a lot, and sort of like this is the reason why we wanted to make Portmaster easy to use as well, of course, because like privacy should not be hard, and it should not be a unicorn. It should be as easy as like install and get going, you know. And we hope to help with Portmaster to sort of like be the first step, and then we'll sort of like continue from there. And maybe I have another recommendation here, and maybe we round it off with some recommendations what people could do.
Christmas season privacy.
Christmas season privacy, yeah. No, I actually, and I mentioned this at the beginning of today's like live chat. I was guest on the podcast Firewalls Don't Stop Dragons with Kerry Parker, which of course in itself would be a recommendation. I think Kerry has a great podcast and does great like privacy. He is very Apple thing, like he is a very pro Apple kind of guy. Take this how you like. I understand that there are people who think that Apple is fighting for their privacy. And I do take this argument where I'm like, I like when companies listen to their customers and sort of like go after this. And I think that Apple sort of like moves into that direction because their customers want it. I think that is a good thing if they implement it correctly. Just know this about Kerry. But what he does as well, he writes a book, which is called Firewalls Don't Stop Dragons as well, I think. version 3 is already out, but he is in the process of releasing a version 4 at the moment. And what this book actually does, and I read the version, the one that's out now, is sort of like a guide on how to increase security and also some privacy as well. The Portmaster is recommended in that book, actually, as a tool for Windows.
Cool.
And he also has very many screenshots in there. So it's an actual like workbook. It helps you to go through all those things, and you can then take the time. And this is the reason why I like to do this recommendation now. Maybe you have some holidays coming up as well. Take the time and sort of like, get your device secured. And I think one very important thing that Kerry talks about as well is you don't just need to secure your device, you need to secure every device on your network. And better like from your family as well, because if your mom has information about you on her devices and she gets compromised, you get compromised as well. So I think this is a very good recommendation. I like Kerry there.
That's definitely true.
And yeah, so Firewalls Don't Stop Dragons. Maybe I put a link in the show note as well. I think Kerry would appreciate this. The episode with me has not come out yet. Oh, another tidbit there. I'm talking about the podcast. I want to share this publicly here as well. A guest a couple of weeks ago has been some management level NordVPN guy, and he said on the podcast that he uses Portmaster. I love that. I'm like, not that we
That was
like
pretty cool. Yeah.
NordVPN. They are like, I don't trust them personally. If you trust them, that's all fine. You do you. But I found it very funny. So NordVPN management level knows and uses Portmaster. This was sort of a highlight from the last year as well.
Pretty nice, yeah.
Yeah, and he was on the podcast and Bruce Schneier was the 300th episode as well. So if you know Bruce Schneier, I think mainly in cryptography, a very big name.
Yeah.
And yeah, very, very interesting. While you think about a recommendation, I'll quickly answer that question.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So Dix Mix Sticks, not sure if I should have said that out loud, but was asking on the YouTube chat about like when the mobile version will come out. We're working very hard on it. I saw some stuff 2 days ago. Working.
Yeah, things are happening. So
yeah, not sure how much else to share. So we will. What can you expect? Android will be the next operating system. It won't be iOS. I'm talking about Apple, but Android will be the next operating system, and Android will be in a beta version probably within the next couple of months. So probably. Yeah.
If all goes
no
well,
promises.
If all goes well, but it is still kind of a complex undertaking, and we'll see.
Yeah.
So
especially
but we are working hard on it, so we're not.
We are.
That's definitely a priority. So
yeah.
That's where we're going.
That's true. So your recommendation.
I had in university, and I literally studied IT security. That was really fun. We had one professor, and he was like his thing was always like once a week open up Wireshark and see what's going on there. So and like if anyone of you knows like for the technical people probably more, Wireshark is kind of a packet inspection thing where you can kind of just see everything that's going on. And it's kind of really nice to see what your network is up to and what things are going on. So of course I am more technical and I'm kind of at home here in the network space. So that's definitely something that's fun to just inspect your network, see what is going on there, and also maybe If you're using a Portmaster, go into the Network Noise app. Look what is flying around your network. Check what devices that is coming from and what they're doing. So
Which of
lots
course is very advanced.
that is very advanced.
So this is your recommend. You started off.
I'm the CTO. So what do you expect from me?
I thought something simple, like something that everybody could do. No, this is actually cool advice, and maybe we should do a blog post about this. We talked last week, 2 weeks ago, about the network noise and the other connections and stuff like that, and we touched upon this. And you already, of course, mentioned that this is like traffic coming in. That's just like stuff that's broadcasting and so on. Would you just recommend it? I have not thought about yet, but of course this is, and we are thinking about stuff like this where it's the Portmaster actually alerts you to stuff like this for the future, so that you know what like is going on in your network.
Yeah.
But cool recommendation, even though I'm like, I don't know. I would have thought something maybe, I don't know, buy YubiKey or something like that.
You already had that.
No, this was not my recommendation was get yourself Firewalls Don't Stop Dragons.
Okay.
I think it's available as an ebook or something as well. So this was my CTO goes hack 5. Yeah. Okay, well then. I think that's it for today. Like, it's been an hour. It's 4 o'clock here in Austria. As mentioned in the beginning, if you watch this later on, please just leave comments below. Leave comments below or join the Discord. We try to be active on Discord. Please, the last couple of weeks have been very busy, so be patient with us. But we are on Discord as well, of course, right there. Link is in the description. You can tweet at Daniel at Dehavi or tweet at him. The Mastodon thingamajig is in the description. Tweet at me as well if you want. Both my links are in the description as well. Other than that, as also mentioned, I'll maybe be here in 2 weeks, probably in my green screen setup again, probably alone, and maybe not sure. This would be the week after Christmas, before New Year's. Not sure if I will make it. But then the next regular one will be in 4 weeks, so you can expect us to be here again. If you have any questions in the meantime, as I said, Discord, comments below, or send us an email, hello@safething. I read most of those emails, so you can reach me through them as well. Yeah, then, have a good one.
Okay.
And you want to share something?
No?
Okay. Oh, great suggestion to the end.
What?
Gift somebody some Portmaster Unlimited subscriptions.
Definitely.
Proxy Store, and I put a link to them below. You can get coupons. That's a very easy way to do. Or if you don't like Proxy Store, of course, a very easy way to get to would be just to create an account and maybe email us if you want. We will figure something out. Okay.
Yeah.
Have a good one, and